Oops. There we go. Went a little dark there for a second. This week, well, first of all, hello, welcome to Bob's Live. This week, I've got a couple things to cover. First of all, we've had our contest up on the website for the last couple weeks, the Garden of the Year contest, which is something that I want to start doing yearly. So have people submit photos of their garden, and then we'll pick a winner. And we had a pretty good turnout this year. I extended the deadline because I wasn't getting very many entries, and then there at the end I just got a tsunami of photos. So I had quite a few entries, and the one that we picked, I think you're going to like it. So I've got that, and then I've got a quick garden update from my own garden to kind of show you what's going on there and kind of the struggles that I've been having this year. It's been a tough gardening year. And then I want to talk a little bit about the upcoming weeks, because this is going to be the last episode of Bob's Live all the way until August, because I've got some stuff going on and I'm going to be not here in the office for a few weeks. So next week I'm going to be out at Cultivate, which is a big industry trade show in Ohio. And then I'm going to be doing some other stuff. But part of what I'm going to be doing is getting video for future episodes of Bob's Live. So it's going to be a little summer break. But in the meantime, I'm going to be creating stuff for upcoming episodes. So you can kind of look forward to that, and I don't want to spoil any surprises. So, up first this week, we've been running our contests for the last few weeks, the Garden of the Summer contest, and we picked a winner. So, had a bunch of submissions of photos. We went through them and picked out the best garden photo. And yesterday, I actually drove out to their house, presented the award. We did kind of a little interview and garden tour. So you get to check out their garden, which I think is really cool. I had a great time yesterday. They showed me around their garden, and then that kind of turned into a whole farm tour. So it was really, really fun. And well, I can take you along for the ride. So without further waiting, here is the winner of this year's Garden of the Year contest. I'm here today with Val and John, and they are the winners of this year's Garden of the Year.
Yay!
So they sent in a photo of their garden, and when I saw it, I was like, this is a beautiful garden. So I've got a certificate here for you.
Thank you.
And then also a bag of goodies, which also happens to have a $50 gift certificate in it.
Whoa,
So
that'll come in handy.
So,
I spent a lot of money at Bob's.
Yep. And you've got a
Nice
Bob's
bag,
Market
too.
tote bag too.
Well, thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Okay, so what kind of crops do you have growing in your garden?
Mostly we just go with the normal things. We've got, I think, 3 different kinds of tomatoes. We've got the green peppers, and I've got 2 different kinds of onions. There's, well, 3 different kinds. There's yellow and white and red onions all kind of mixed together, so you never know what you're going to get
Yep.
when you pull one. Then I've got cucumbers, and they're supposed to be like the English cucumbers, the long type of
Okay.
cucumber.
Yep.
And I've got a couple of zucchini plants there, 2 of the yellow squash, and then 2 rows of green beans, and then we got some bodacious corn, and then some early girl corn there that's real tiny, but hopefully it'll make here pretty quick.
Yep.
And then I've got pumpkins, watermelon, gourds planted in the area down there. So
All right.
that's about all that we have planted. And I had some sunflowers, but we had a big rain, and I think it washed my sunflowers out. They never came up.
Yeah.
Or John plowed them up.
Yep. And you've got some beautiful flowers around here, so we're going to check out the flowers also.
Okay.
And I suspect maybe some of them came from bulbs.
Yeah, pretty much all of them.
Pretty much all of them.
I had a few gifts. I don't know where they came from. Few nieces, for Mother's Day.
Yep.
But yeah, most of them came from Bob's. Begonia, usually a coleus, and I like the bubblegum, petunia. They always do well. Now, like I said, those were real small when I bought them. You guys had sold all of them out when I got there, so the ones I got were real leggy like, so I had to pinch them back. But they've done pretty well here.
Yep.
They'll overgrow those pots here eventually. So that's pretty much what those 4 are down through there. But they'll be real big here. Give them another month or less than that, because they're growing like crazy right now.
Yeah, those ferns look really nice.
Our barn's so far back from the road. I like something that you get a little impact there, with the ferns, so they show up real good.
Yep.
And then these are some of my favorite flowers here. I know it's a form of portulaca, like the rose moss, but I know it has a different name, but I can't remember what it is.
Purslane. There we go.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it's a form of rose moss,
Yeah.
basically, is what it is. But I love those. And since I retired, well, it's been a year now. Used to, when I would have them, they bloom during the day, and the blooms fold up in the evening. So by the time we get home from work, my flowers weren't blooming. But I appreciate them now because I get to see them during the day.
Yep.
Because they're all bloomed out real pretty. I got this little frog up there, and my little chicken. I love the little chicken here. This is my little miniature.
Yeah.
I have my little horsies in here with my marbles.
Little hens and chickies there.
Yeah, little hens and chickies. Yeah. They've been growing for a long time in there.
Yep.
And this one's basically the same as those, except we got the sweet potato plant in there, and that it'll be down here in the yard eventually. And some more of the purslane. Then my mandevilla. I love mandevilla. This came from Bob too. I know it did.
Yep.
It's doing real well. I was glad I found a pink one. Sometimes it's hard to find a pink one. It's usually
They can be.
red or white or something like that. And I had all of these little hens and chickens. They were in the back of that thing over there, and it was like one big blob. So I took them out and separated them. So I have lots of little hens and chickens going on now. No food. Yeah.
Hey.
You pose good. Of course, you look a little funky with your mask on there. Yeah.
All right. So, let me find the camera there. So that was this year's Garden of the Year. And yeah, I had a great time going out and visiting with Al and John yesterday. Their farm is beautiful out there. It's out close to Bidwell. So, yeah, it was a really, really fun afternoon. And up next, I want to take a look at the weather because right now it's actually it's toasty out, but it's not terribly uncomfortable. It's close to 90 right now. Of course, the real feel is saying 97. Compared though to that heat wave that we had a couple weeks ago, it doesn't really feel too awfully bad. But looking at the kind of extended forecast, we're actually going to cool off tonight. So we're going to have, let's see if I can find a better forecast page here. There we go. So we're going to have kind of a cold front move through tonight. That's cool. Going to cool things down to like around 80. There is a little bit of a chance of rain, so that's kind of in there. Then tomorrow we're going to be up around 87. Friday we're jumping back up to 91. And then heading into the weekend, we're going to be hovering right around 90. So it's going to be nice and toasty heading into the weekend. And then, we're looking at kind of staying around 90 for the next week or so. So kind of very similar weather to what we're experiencing right now. But we are getting that nice cool down tonight. So tomorrow, if you've got gardening activities that you need to do, it'll be a great time to get out and get those done. Also, depending on how much rain we get and how wet your grass is, might be a good day to get out and mow the lawn too. I know I've got some grass to mow before cultivate. And of course, you can always find updated gardening tasks and weather forecasts on the Keep Growing podcast. Now, this last episode that I uploaded last week, that's going to be the last episode to have a weather forecast for July, because where I'm going to kind of be out of the office, I'm pre-recording the episode. So normally I record the episode like Friday evening and it goes out Saturday morning. These, where I'm recording it in advance, it's not going to have that weather forecast. But again, if you're looking for kind of guidance on what to do based off the current part of the gardening season, so it's taking into account like crop times on like your common garden plants, just the time of year on like ordering supplies and things like that for your garden. All of those different sorts of things get covered in the Keep Growing podcast. So it's timely, kind of down to the week of what you could be doing in your garden to kind of maximize your time in your garden and also kind of prepare for the future. So gardening is sometimes a lot of planning and planning ahead, because you have to think about, once this plant's finished, what am I going to replace it with? And then also thinking ahead all the way to next spring. So like right now in the greenhouse, we have fall mums growing, and then also poinsettias for Christmas. So a lot of times it's the same way in your own garden. Here pretty soon it's going to be time to start ordering bulbs to plant in the fall that'll bloom in the springtime. So, you're thinking a few months ahead. And, the last thing I thought we would do this evening is head out to my own garden and take a look at it. It doesn't look as nice as Val and John's. I need to get out in the garden with a hoe and do some more cultivating. So yeah, I've got some work to do in my own garden. But here is kind of a quick update on that and some of the critters that I've been fighting too this year. I am overrun right now. I know a lot of people fight deer. For me this year, it's been rabbits. I've got a ton of rabbits in my garden. All right, this evening I am out here giving my garden a quick checkup. Tilled up my garden and hoed the corn the other day. The rabbits, they sort of ate my beans, so I just replanted all of my beans. Which, that's kind of been par for the course this spring, it seems like. Anyhow, I'm trying out something new. I've gone through a few different variations. I had this guy, I'm taking it into charge to see if I can get it working again. But this is a little critter chaser, and obviously it wasn't working that well. So let me show you what I switched to, and then I want to show you some pretty blooms this evening. So here is what I've switched to. This basically has a motion sensor, a blinking LED light, and also a very high-pitched speaker on it. So I can barely hear it, but it's up above like the audible range for us humans. But the idea is that it will scare off the critters. Now, the one that I had here, I bought it. It's like, oh, it's a 360-degree model. It also plays like crow noises and hawk noises and stuff like that. It didn't work that well and has completely stopped working. But I think it just needs charged. This one actually has a little port on the bottom to charge it. Whereas, oh, there, that's a loud train. Whereas this one is completely sealed and it's solar powered. So it should hopefully be able to power itself and recharge itself during the day. But I have this one here, and then one all the way over at the other corner of the garden. Out here in my wildflower garden, I have kind of a mix of stuff going on right now. There's not a whole lot of blooms to be seen, and that's because the garden's in a little bit of a transition period between spring flowers and more of your late summer fall flowers. So we do have like these beautiful white native asters that are starting to bloom. If I can get the camera to focus on them, where they're so delicate it's hard to get the camera to focus. But there we go. So they're starting to bloom. They'll really come in kind of late fall. And they're one of the last things that'll still be blooming here in the fall. So they provide pollen to pollinators like really late into the season. One of the flowers that's starting to finish blooming is cornflower. So it's more of an early spring flower. And as you can see, there were a ton of blooms right here, but a lot of it is starting to go to seed. So I can actually come in and collect this seed, or what I like to do is just let it fall, and then it gets tilled in and reseeds the area for next spring. And then I have flowers that are getting ready to start blooming, like this cosmos. And also the morning glory vines are just now starting to pop. And kind of interspersed throughout the whole garden area here, I also have some zinnias that are starting to bloom. They're kind of hard to pick out. And then also I zoomed in on them a second ago. There's some black-eyed Susan hiding right over there. Another plant that actually came up from last year that's starting to finish up blooming, that was looking absolutely amazing about a week ago, is this wild bergamot, or I think it's Monarda Fistia something or other. I am terrible at scientific names. But yeah, we'll stick with wild bergamot. Something that I've been watching for here on my apple tree is signs of locust damage. This tree is a little bit older. I didn't put a net over it or anything. I do have a little bit of flagging, so there are a few branches that were hit pretty hard by the locusts. But overall, the tree looks really good. I did find some damage, like right here. But it looks like, ooh, my voice just cracked. It looks like that it is recovering nicely. So, yeah, there's a little bit of damage there from locusts, but overall, I think this tree weathered it pretty well. Of course, my yard, this is literally, I mean, I do have another small cherry tree over there, but I only have a couple trees on my property. And the nearest wood line where I really heard a lot of locusts was over here. So there just wasn't that many that made their way over here onto my property. So really, I think the tree weathered the locust pretty well. There's some damage right here on this branch. And I did notice that when it was being actively attacked by locusts this spring, I think it was part of the stress of it, but it did drop all of its fruit. So unfortunately no apples this year. But again, I think that was just the stress of the locusts kind of attacking it. But yeah, other than that, it looks pretty good after its prune that I gave it this spring. Oh, and hey, little bird nest there. And over on this side, I'm kind of zoomed in here because I don't want to go smashing down my wildflowers. I do have some cosmos that's starting to bloom, and they're kind of right here in the shade of the staghorn sumac that I have growing. So that's pretty nice. And then also have another little bunch of cornflower here. And there's actually a lot of cornflower right in here that hasn't even started blooming yet. So some little late bloomers there. And also has some random gladiolus that just kind of snuck their way into this bed. And that's a quick update on my garden and also my kind of wildflower / meadow garden. And that's a quick look at my garden and what I have growing in it. So yeah, this time of year, with planting wildflowers with the seed mix that I buy, it tends to kind of go heavy on spring flowers. So I had a lot of spring flowers, a lot of my mind just went totally blank. A lot of cornflower, bachelor's button, that sort of stuff. I had a foxglove that came up that I planted last year. Let's see. Yeah, I did plant it last year because it's a biennial. So it grew from seed last year, is blooming this year. I planted more foxglove this year, so hopefully I'll start getting blooms every year with foxglove. But I had a lot of stuff like that early on in the spring. We had that heat wave, and that was really rough on the wildflowers. And a lot of stuff that was blooming, lost its blooms. And now I'm kind of seeing everything kind of get primed for a second phase of blooming. So I'll have kind of the midsummer blooms with the cosmos and things like that, and they'll continue blooming all the way up into fall. And then once I get into fall, I'll start getting more of like your butterfly weed and things like that start blooming. More of your fall blooms. And well, that is all that I have for this week's episode. And as I said, we're going to be kind of on a hiatus for the next few weeks. However, I am heading to Cultivate this weekend, which it is a massive trade show in Columbus, Ohio. And a couple things that I always do at Cultivate that I share here on Facebook is the trial gardens at Ohio State and also the Franklin Park Conservatory. So I'm going to be going to both of those things, and I'll probably either be sharing photos on Instagram. I might try to go live here on Facebook. So I think let me look here. I've actually got a whole folder here with my schedule. Oh, that helps if I grab the right folder. There we go. Okay. So yeah, the cultivar trials are Saturday evening. So around 4:30 to 7 p.m. So around that time on Saturday evening, you can look here on Facebook, and I'll probably go live for a little while. An issue that I always have at Cultivate is when I go live during the plant trials where it's outside and it's sunny, I always have problems with my phone overheating. So I'm going to have to kind of try to be strategic this year with it and try to prevent that from happening. But I'll go live for a little while just to kind of give you an idea of what a plant trial is like. Basically, it's big garden beds with blocks of different species or different varieties of new plants that are coming out. And it's just to see how they perform in the landscape. And growers like Bob's, we kind of look at trial varieties at a trial garden like that. But then also at Cultivate, they'll have new variety displays kind of inside where it's kind of perfect conditions. So you kind of get to see them in real life, in the trial garden. And then also kind of, the perfect example of them at the new variety displays. So I'll try to share both with you. And then I believe it is. I've got like a 15-page schedule here of stuff that I'm going to. Okay, so Monday, July 14th, at 5 p.m., that's when I'm going to be heading over to the Franklin Park Conservatory. And I'll try to go live there too. So next week, on Monday, and then also this coming Saturday, you can look for me to go live on Facebook. And I'll also go live like on TikTok and different places like that too. So make sure you check that out. And well, that is all that I have for this week. I'm kind of getting long-winded here. And it's like, wrap it up, John. So until next time, which is going to be a month or so, keep growing. And of course, send me your questions or anything like that. I'm going to have access to email. You can always email me at askask@bobsmarket.com. And well, until next time, keep growing.